Merck and Pfizer recently announcing the start of trials testing antiviral medication targeting COVID-19. Here to help us break it all down is Uma Rafat of Evercore ISI. Very good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Do you think that these antivirals could still be a big seller for these companies, or is the focus very much more on vaccines?
Thanks for having me. I mean, look, Tamiflu in flu setting is a multi-billion-dollar drug, and it's depending on the flu season. And there's no reason why antivirals in COVID setting can't be very sizable opportunities, but more importantly, very meaningful treatment options for patients. It's a very good add-on to the vaccine option we all have now.
These ones that are being trialed at the moment, whether it's Merck or Pfizer, are they likely to be better than what's out there already? Is there a need for better antivirals?
So there's three of them. There's Merck, there's Atea, which is a small biotech, and then there's Pfizer's, which theoretically is a complementary to Merck and Atea. Now, as it relates to what's out there right now, we have vaccines and we have antibodies. Antibodies do have an antiviral effect as well. However, there's a limitation to the scale of antibody production right now, as well as if you want to try to get antibody, you have to be older, above a certain age group. So there's a lot of limitations that has to be done with an injection or an IV, whereas orals will be pills. They're easy to pop in. And most importantly, it's not just an oral antiviral's ability to shrink the duration of your COVID episode. It's also the possibility it may even help you in a post-exposure prophylaxis setting. For example, we're all vaccinated, having this meeting, one of us tests positive. You can go pop in that pill, reduce your chances of 50% of catching COVID, assuming one of us had it.
So, Umar, just to dig into that a little bit more, I mean, the antiviral piece of the puzzle has certainly been more challenged. You talked about some of the constraints in terms of administering it. If you see broad-based antiviral options, what does that do to, I guess, vaccine demand, especially as you have all this talk and all this focus on boosters?
So, that's a very good question. Theoretically, it sounds like now there's a pill for COVID, so if I just take it, I'm fine. In practice, here's what a pill really does. A pill shrinks your duration of COVID from 12 days down to 10. When you describe it like that, it sounds very different. What a pill could also help you with is maybe lower your odds of catching COVID from a household member, assuming someone's positive, by somewhere between 50 and 70%, depending on how the data evolves over time. So it's not a magic cure per se. Will it lower the demand? Maybe not substantially. It's a good add-on as an armamentarium, the way I see it.
What about 3 to 5 years out? Could it be a more meaningful alternative then to vaccines if we're not quite in the full throes of the pandemic anymore?
Yeah, and maybe ask your question. If I were to ask your question differently, I guess what you're really saying is, let's say your vaccine covers you 6 to 9 months. For those extra 3 months before you get that next booster, could you sort of rely on a pill? Maybe. But again, we need to prove and show that data. There's a lot of data coming in the next 8 to 12 weeks to go through that.